All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Volume Podcast. My name is Iz.
My name is Leo.
And today we're going to be talking about what are you binge watching right now?
Are you asking me right now?
No. That's
that's the title.
That is the title. Yeah, the title.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Because yeah, we had a couple of things we wanted to talk about. First things first, we wanted to talk about the Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp trial that's going on right now. And, I was just thinking, like, man, it'd be so funny to just, kind of go over it because it's hilarious. I see it a lot on TikTok and I see it a lot on YouTube of just Camille Vasquez. I believe that's Johnny's lawyer, just like going in on Amber and her team. But then I had some doubts. I was a little scared because I forgot that there's actually a reason they're there,
True. Yeah.
There's the whole domestic violence, there's drug abuse, and then there's lying. Lying.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And another note, too, there was news of McDonald's leaving Russia. And I know, I was kind of mad when I heard about it, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on it. But apparently those who worked in the McDonald's at Russia, they will be paid as if they were working until someone buys out the properties of all of McDonald's. Yeah, this is all just on the internet.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know where it's not my source. It's my brother's source. He's the one that told me about it. So wherever he heard about it, then it's kind of in the air. So you guys can look it up yourselves.
And we all know your brother has like real connections.
Yeah.
CIA connections.
Yeah, he's up in there.
Yeah. So trustworthy stuff going on there.
Yeah. The trustiest. Yeah, and so today, I'll just like maybe not go that hardcore route. Maybe in the future, if there's more listeners that comment on our Instagram or Facebook that we haven't been promoting in the last couple of episodes of just our audio. And oh my gosh, I haven't. I'm terrible. But it's okay. We are as a collective, not just me. Apparently, I guess. But anyway, what are you binge watching right now, Leo?
What am I binge watching right now?
Yes, sir.
What am I binge watching? Right now.
And what have you finished that you recently been watched too? We'll talk about those two.
Definitely. Okay, so like me and my wife, we've been watching a lot of Korean dramas.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Which is kind of funny because let's be honest, Korean dramas are no different from like telenovelas. They're all the same. They all have the basic premise, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember growing up and my mom watching her telenovelas, and I was just like, really, this again? Like, no, this is a new one. It's the same thing. But now as a grown up, I'm just like, you know what? I like these.
Yeah,
And I will tell you that there is a big difference between telenovelas and like K-drama, right? Which telenovelas are all about liars and cheaters. But, there's no hope. But in K-dramas, there's hope for the love interest to get together.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's not as much lying and cheating. Actually, you don't ever really see any cheating in at least not the ones I've watched.
I've seen it.
Maybe I've seen like more upbeat ones. I've only seen a few dark K-dramas and I was like, dang, this is dark.
Right.
But
have you heard of Sweet and Sour?
I have not.
That's a K-drama.
I'm super new to the K-drama world.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I haven't seen it. I just saw
it.
I saw the preface, and then I accidentally watched a 10-minute video on a drama that I didn't know was the same one. And I was like, oh, dude, this looks good. And then all of a sudden, I look at the other person. I'm like, yo, is this that one drama I didn't want to watch?
You're like, dang, maybe I need to reconsider. But definitely, so me and my wife, we just finished watching Business Proposal.
Oh, nice.
Right?
I just finished that because of you.
Yeah. Oh, man, such a good.
It's so good.
So good. Loved every second of it.
Yep. Mr. Cha was my favorite. I guess character, main character. Was he a main character, or was he just like a co-lead? No.
That one was interesting because it wasn't like just between the two characters because you had the friends that were also having. So yeah, they were like co-leads in to some respect because it wasn't like they were just background.
Yeah. Like they had their own arc and everything.
Yeah, which was pretty dope. So I thought that was pretty interesting about that. But I watched that. That was good. We binge watched Rank of Kings because of you. Oh, the anime. So nice. Good. I was telling Liz a while back, like that anime is a work of art. It was just so beautifully done. Mm-hmm. Oh man,
I'd die for Boji. All right.
I would too. I would too. I would take that sword, that club. I would take everything for that for that king. He's my king.
He's my king.
But yeah, oh man. And then right now we're watching Tomorrow, which is another K-drama.
Oh, that's the one you told me to check out. Yeah. I haven't started that yet.
That one is a little bit more serious. My wife lied to me because she told me when we first started watching it, or before we started watching, she said, "Oh, it looks like it's a very fun, like comedy kind of like a rom-com, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then we started watching it, and yeah, like the first episode was kind of like lighthearted, and not by much. Right, because the premise of that K-drama is about they're Grim Reapers who are trying to prevent people from committing suicide.
Oh,
that's the whole premise.
Oh, that's cool. Right?
Because there's too many. I mean, I don't know how it is in Korea. I know there is a high number of suicide happening in Korea. So the whole thing is like the people who the Grim Reaper organization. I forgot what they're called. They're like they got a message from hell saying, "Hey, so we have a lot of people killing themselves. You need to prevent that from happening." Yeah. We're like overwhelmed with how many people are committing suicide and coming to hell, right?
So because all right,
right.
That's crazy.
So the whole thing is there's this organization, part of the Grim Reapers, who their whole job is to try to prevent people from killing themselves and just die, normally, like live out your life until you're old, or if you're already old, just die, right? So, but man, that one, whew.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I'm gonna have to check it out.
You're definitely going to have to make sure to have a box of tissues next to you because you're gonna be balling.
Should I just have a towel?
You know what? Yeah, just keep towels instead. Better absorption, better for the environment.
Right.
You can just wash it later.
That sounds incredibly deep, and I'm a little scared of it, but I get it. I get it. K-dramas can do that to you because there's a lot of familial things in it. You know what I mean? Is there any familial things in that show Tomorrow? Like amongst the main characters, not so much the characters that they're involved with. Like you said that they were Grim Reapers, right?
Yeah.
Try to prevent these things.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not talking about the ones that they're trying to prevent from killing themselves, but I'm talking about
the Grim Reapers. So the Grim Reapers themselves were people who died, and you could choose to either go on to the afterlife or be reincarnated was the other thing, right? Or you can choose to become a Grim Reaper yourself.
Okay.
But once you become a Grim Reaper, you can never, if I understood it right, you can never go to the afterlife after. Like that is, what? You stay Grim Reaper probably for eternity, right? There's no turning back from that. So, but so you have the main character. Well, you have three main characters, but you have the young guy that you're following, right? Who is, I don't want to. It's in the first episode. It's not like I'm giving up anything, but he accidentally falls to his death and he's in a coma, right? So they gave him an ultimatum. They told him either you can stay in a coma for 6 months, right, and you then come back to life, but you have to work for us, or you stay in a coma for I think it was like some amount of years, and eventually you'll come back. You'll wake up from it. But if you do it if you work for us for 6 months, then you'll come out of your coma, within after 6 months. So that was like his ultimatum because he was interfering with stuff that he shouldn't have been interfering with. So it was like kind of a punishment at the same time.
How do you punish somebody that's in a coma? I mean, the sheer pettiness that these Shinigami.
I just don't want to give up too much. But so that's him.
Okay.
And then you have the two Grim Reapers who are like the
Mentors?
lady is the one who's in charge of that group that tries to save people who are committing suicide, and then she has somebody else with her, right, who's is like her second in command. Right, there's only two of them that work in that department because all the other Grim Reapers see that group as a like you shouldn't be doing that, right? Because you're interfering with people dying. They just want to take their job is to take souls, right? To the afterlife.
Right.
So they're like, I don't care if they commit suicide or not, but so now there's this group trying to interfere in their dying, whichever way it is, or unliving censor, blah blah. But so I don't know what happened to the lady who's in charge, right? But there is a backstory to her. And then both of them have experienced traumatic events when they were alive.
Okay.
So that in turn led them to becoming Grim Reapers now. And it seems like a lot of people who are Grim Reapers had some kind of traumatic event when they were alive, and now they're trying to either what's the word I'm looking for? Like repent for it or whatever, right, by being a Grim Reaper or whatever the case may be. So
that's cool. I mean, the concept of Grim Reaper is similar to from Goblin, the K-drama Goblin, where
I never watched that one, but I heard it was good.
You didn't watch that one? Okay, never mind then. Well, if you watch it, then you kind of get what I mean. Because obviously you're watching tomorrow right now. Yeah. So
and tomorrow. Well.
That's interesting. So yeah, okay. That's I didn't know about all that even when you told me off the podcast. Yeah. So that is really interesting. I'm probably going to start it tonight. I do know that when I'm binging, I binge a certain amount of things and they're all different. I binge on manga, I binge on anime, I binge on Korean dramas, and I do binge on some comedy stuff here in the U.S., like some U.S. TV shows. Right. But the most recent one that I've done was Superstore, and it's canceled now, or they're finished. That series is done. Right. But I did love that series.
That was a good show.
I watched that because I was I'm pursuing acting as well, and my manager was like, "What are you watching right now?" And I was just like, "Oh, I didn't say anime. There's no way I was gonna say that." I was like, I watch a lot of Korean shows, and I do watch a lot of like singing competitions and stuff like that. He's like, okay, that makes sense, because I told him that I sing as well, or at least that's what I do professionally. And then I started watching more TV shows here. Like I started watching All American. That's the football show on Netflix. My brother's a big fan of the Carolina Panthers, and one of the older players. It's about them and their whole past and how they grew up and joined the professional football league. You know what I'm saying, or the association league. Yeah, it's the league. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm trying to look for more of these TV shows, but it's really tough. So I normally just stick to my 3: manga, anime, and K-dramas. Those are the ones that I binge watch, but I've been barely binge watching in the past couple, like maybe not this month and last. I don't count these past 2 months, but 3 months prior, I wasn't binging anything. I was just watching one thing at a time, slowly. I just felt like I shouldn't be doing that. But recently I've been just like, you know what? I'm going to start binge watching again. So I finished so many things. And when I binge watch, I normally finish within like 3 days, depending on what it is. Right. Anime takes about 3 days to finish. 12 to 26 episodes takes about 3 days for me to do that, because I don't watch the intro. I don't watch the outro. A lot of the times I'll just do that separately. Yeah. Just be like, okay, that sounds nice. Move on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
When it's a new intro or a new outro?
Yeah, when it's a new intro or the beginning, the episode 1, I normally watch the intro and I watch the outro. And then normally around, if it's a 6 or if it's a 12 episode one, it's going to be the same one all the way through. If it's a 24, 26 season show, then it's going to change on either 11, 12, or 13. Right. And if
this is how you're a pro anime watcher, when you know how they're set up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It depends on who makes it too. Like, is it Kadokawa, or Kadoawa? There's that one.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's also there's so many, but they're all in Japanese, so I can't really just remember them. So I'll just start with my Korean drama, one that I just binge watched recently, and I finished literally just yesterday. It was All of Us Are Dead.
So good.
It is so good.
Yeah.
However, I have some issues with that show.
So do I, but
like, so we all know it's, well, if you haven't seen it on Netflix, or if you haven't even seen the thumbnail, it is a zombie series. And no, normally, like, coming from Korea, they have to literally meet Train to Busan's like energy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Train to Busan
set the standard.
100%. One of the best zombie movies I've ever seen and enjoyed at the same time. So being able to see all of these things happening in All of Us Are Dead, it was actually a really refreshing movie. But there was just a lot of things that didn't make any sense. Like when the zombies started eating up people, or not eating up people, but starting to be very prominent in the school, one of the students, the girl who smells the teacher, was like, oh, the teacher smells like a corpse. You know what I mean? And that's all we get. She's just some girl that can smell her teacher and doesn't like one of the classmates. I think his name was Gyung-soo. She didn't like him. Okay, flashback to where I was saying that, when the zombies started to be more prominent in the school, she all of a sudden is tripping, straight tripping. Like, everybody is a suspect to her. Why isn't anybody listening to her? She was just all of a sudden just bad chick. And I'm like, what? Her name was Nayeon in there. And I'm like, why? Like, there was nothing that indicated that she was that kind of person. You know what I mean?
Are we talking about the girl who practically killed the boy?
Yeah, the Gyung-soo. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
She killed him because of her pride.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, she was annoying.
But the thing is that there was no build up to her character.
Yeah. You didn't see her being a horrible person beforehand. Like,
yeah, she was you're just a weird girl, and it's not like nobody liked her. Just nobody liked the way that she treated Gyung-soo. Everybody liked that guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so I was just like, whoa, where did that come from? You know what I mean? And then there's even more too. Like, but.
There were quite a few inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, while we were watching that one, we were like, oh, okay, so this is how it works. And then something would contradict what we just thought. Like, okay, maybe this is how it's supposed to be then. And then something else would contradict that. It's like, I'm not understanding. There's no consistent basis of why these zombies are what they are and what they run on. Like most zombies want brain, right? Or whatever the case may be, or or they're attracted to sound, or they're attracted to movement, or whatever. But sometimes I was just like, I'm so confused. But are these zombies, or are these just crazy people?
Yeah, I didn't. Oh yeah,
there were points where it's just, you couldn't tell what if there was just an inconsistency in the writing, or like do you not know what your creatures want to be? Like,
right.
Figure it out. Right, and then that guy, gosh darn it, that guy, the main bad guy.
Oh, dude, that guy was annoyingly impressive.
How are you not dead yet?
And there was a part in that show with the bad guy and the Archer kid, the boy, and he got him in the neck, right, which is apparently the most optimal spot to kill these zombies.
Yeah,
which apparently it isn't, because later on they could just shoot the head and they're done. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure none of them really impaled their heads throughout the show, but they're all these zombies are just laid out. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe it's just the story that they're trying to emphasize on, which made sense. But yeah, no, I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm glad I like this series, but
it was good.
There was just so much. What?
Yeah. Once again, like, if you haven't watched it and you're like interested, but I would definitely recommend watching it. It was really good. It was entertaining for sure. I just like, and it could just be a personal thing, right? I like there to be a consistency in my show,
Exactly.
right? There's like a part of me likes to figure out what is the twist that's in the show, right? I like trying to figure that out before it happens, for example. But if you're not giving me anything, like I understand it, a twist is a twist. Obviously, if I don't get it right, it's like, oh dang, I didn't see that. That was so good, right? But sometimes but there has to be a reason behind the twist.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just have it and then go, what? That didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, they just don't like purple.
Yeah.
What? That doesn't make sense, right? So
another thing too about that series that kind of just was like why they even have that there. There was two situations. Well, first one was Nyan, the annoying chick, the one that when she decided to apologize. Who was there? Winam, the main bad guy. Got rid of him easy.
Yeah.
And there was a whole camera scene. Remember when there was all like, "Oh, Mom, I'm good. Dad, I'm fine." And
where they were recording themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe she was gonna record herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, okay, well, I guess maybe it died. And then I thought to myself one more time, I'm like, maybe she did it off camera to make it seem like she didn't have time, but she did.
Mm-hmm.
And someone's going to, find it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, she just done. I'm just like, okay, what was that? What was that whole part of her?
Right.
Just doing that whole, she was going to help 3 times, but they kept bringing up the Gyu-sung or Gyung-soo, who died because of her. They brought her up all the time.
No, I think that was one of my things too. Was her they kept bringing her in oh she's going to help them, she's going to do something, and then she just dies, right? And you're just kind of like, oh, sorry people for spoiling it, but that's just, it's not that important. That part is not as important as the rest of the show.
Yeah.
It's just something that you trust me. You'll be like, oh, cool, she's gonna redeem herself,
right?
And never does. It's like, well, I guess that's kind of the idea, right? You don't have all the time in the world to apologize for mistakes you've done.
I think you should maybe when I think from here on out we should say spoilers. Spoilers. Sorry about that. I didn't think we'd be heavy into this, but we are. And spoilers. All of Us Are Dead. We're on All of Us Are Dead. We just finished talking about Tomorrow and Ranking of Kings, right?
Ranking of Kings.
Yeah. Ranking of Kings
so
and
good.
Tomorrow. Yeah, and so we're now on All of Us Are Dead. And my last gripe with it was, aside from of Nyan's part, was the dad. The dad of the girl. He spent, I want to say,
the entire thing.
Yeah, just looking for his daughter, helping out everybody else except his daughter. And then they kill him off, and then they write it off as if, no, he did his job. He was there to make sure that his daughter was okay. I was like, yeah, he made sure by dying. I was like, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luckily, it did. You know what I mean? And
that happened a few times though.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher, the annoying girl, the dad. Yeah, they all it was like a buildup of and then fizzled away, right?
It was just like a firework. It
was
like a firework. Yeah.
Who is your writer who dropped the ball on?
Yeah, I was just like, why? When the teacher, oh man, especially the teacher. The teacher was never brought up again.
No, it wasn't. She went after her, and then this is
yeah, she ran away, and then she was changing, and that's it. And then you remember how when
we find out 12 episodes later,
yeah,
she died. Okay.
Oh, yeah, right. It's like, oh, that's okay. That makes sense. But there was a whole montage of the people that was with them throughout the show, and right before they bombed the school, you see everybody, like the mom, Chung Sun's mom. You'll see Anjo's dad. You'll see what's her name? The girl that was with them that was with them almost to the end, but she betrayed her friend, which doesn't make any sense because I was just like, that's not her character. Her character trope.
There were weird things.
I was just like, how did she all of a sudden just give up? I was just like, huh? And then there was the Young-soo. I don't know if I said that, Nayeon, and then who else was there? Who else died that was there? I said the dad already. But anyway, so they all had their own like montage of like, oh yeah, I remember him. Oh, I remember him. I remember them. I remember her. But there was no teacher, none whatsoever. Teacher did not she didn't make the cut for the montage.
She did not.
She did not.
And she was she was important at least in the first
yeah, dude, that whole
episode
scene
or two.
What didn't make any sense was the amount of information everyone was lacking. And that speaker room or the broadcasting room, if I was that teacher, I was like, everyone, what are the zombies doing? Learn, escape, stay alive. You know what I mean? I was like, observe. I was like, tell them, oh, you're a teacher. You know what I mean? I was just like, you have to make them learn. You know, I'm just like, I understand they're all scared. I do. But they all have to get into survival mode, man. You know? And so, yeah, you know, like All of Us Are Dead was one that I finished. I did like the show. There's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of things like, how did that person all of a sudden become this way? But
it was still good.
Yeah.
I like I said, for me, it was inconsistency issues, but honestly, I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Heart-wrenching in some cases.
Oh, bro. When Smart Kid number 2 died, oh.
Yeah.
That tore me up. But what helped me out was Desu and the older sister, though. I think they got together at the end. I think so. Because he was just like, yo, Nuna or Nunim, yo, I'm trying to holler at you because we're going to die. And then she literally beats him up. It was funny. And then it was like, he's like, I just said I liked you. She's like, yeah, get over your husband. I was just like, huh? I was just like, okay, I guess that's sure, we'll date because she's like, what else do I got to lose? I'm like, oh.
The world's literally at the end.
Exactly. But they both survived until the end. And then that's where you see Namra, the class president, a.k.a. super inhuman vampire zombie that's probably like weaker than Weenam, which doesn't make any sense. I was just like, she's just like him. Why don't you guys have her literally bring out all the zombies? Like, hey, like she could just literally make noise and walk down the hall.
True.
She could have done that so many times. I was just like, you guys. But to the kid, Smart Kid number 2, he knew exactly what to do if they didn't have her there. And he was, oh man, everybody else was great help. Like Woo Jin, that's the little brother of the girl that, the archer girl.
Yeah.
He was very helpful. Desu was very helpful to the crew. I would say the ones that were the least helpful were the 2 girls that was off to the side with Onjo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that they weren't helpful. I just like they didn't make their characters helpful.
Yeah.
You know, one of them survived. The other one ran away out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, just do that to her. It's fine. Cool, go. But yeah, so that was All of Us Are Dead. That's all in 12 episodes, y'all. 12 episodes.
Yeah.
I was in some high stress. Okay.
Yeah, it was intense. It was intense for sure. Oh man. Yeah, so I forgot that I watch. Yeah, there are other things I watch, like American shows, right? That Discovery, which is a Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
So good.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it new?
That one's already on like season. What season are they on? Like 4?
Holy jeez.
Yeah. And then they just came out with Star Trek, A New World. Or a weird world,
Strange a weird world. Oh, that's
strange
funny.
world. One of those words. It's something like that.
Unique.
And it was good. It was good though. I've only watched the 2 episodes so far.
Okay.
But I like it. I'm probably gonna binge watch that. And I've been binge watching FBI.
Okay.
Made by the same people who did Law and Order. Oh wait, no, that's Netflix. Although they have the same sound actually.
They do. There's my family's been watching 24.
24.
And they just finished
I
it.
watched only the last season of 24, which was like the I wouldn't call it a reboot, but it came out like years after the season ended.
It was only 12 episodes.
Yeah. And that's the only one I watched, and I was like, dang, this was really good. And then that's when I realized, like, wait, you're telling me like how many seasons are there?
Right. I think there's 8.
8 seasons
Yeah.
was based on just 24 hours. Like one whole day was the entire 8 seasons, right?
No, one whole day was an entire one season.
Oh, one season.
Yeah.
That makes...
So there's 24 episodes, 1 hour each.
That's crazy.
That was crazy. I was just like, how many seasons are there? There's like, they're telling me there was 8
days.
And I was just like, so he had how many episodes? They're like 24. I was like, dang, so he had 24-hour episodes? They're like, no. Each hour in the movie or in the show was an episode. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Yo.
I didn't know that until after I watched the last one that they came out with a few years ago.
Yeah. I was wondering how the 12 episode thing. I was like, was it 2 hours now? From this episode is between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m.
That's how I would have done it.
Hey, it makes sense.
It's still 24 hours.
Yeah. Superstore. Yeah, I watched Superstore. I also...
Superstore was so good.
You know what? Don't hate me, but I haven't seen an episode of The Office. Maybe I have seen an episode.
I've never seen The Office.
I have seen a couple episodes of Parks and Recs, and I love it.
I haven't seen that either.
But as far as I'm binging American TV shows, I did finish Moon Knight. And that was awesome. I liked that movie or show, excuse me. And I had no idea who it was. I was like, who is this Moon Knight person? I've never seen him ever. I mean, I know the comics exist, but there's so many characters. There's no way I would keep up, especially since I didn't grow up reading comics.
Talking about Moon Knight. The actor, I forgot his name.
Isaac something, I believe.
Yeah, he has 2 first names as his it's Isaac.
Yeah.
Isaac something. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. But I don't know if he is, but his family is from Guatemala, which I am from Guatemala. So I was like, oh, snaps.
Really?
Chapin is in the house. Let's go. I was super excited. You don't hear a lot of Guatemalans, especially I don't hear a lot of Guatemalan hype.
Oscar Isaac is in
Oscar Isaac. Yeah, he's got 2 first names, which is interesting. Like a first name and a last name. But yeah, he's from Guatemala. It says he's Guatemalan American or something like that.
I thought he was East Indian.
I didn't think he was from Guatemala either. I thought he was
or maybe
something else.
Or maybe from Egypt, or African maybe.
So I was super excited about that. I was like, what? That's awesome. This guy's from Guatemala. That's awesome. So I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, no. It's so cool. Like the show was great. I binge watched it. I literally watched I watched the first episode with my brother, and then I was just like, hey man, I want to watch the second episode. And he's like, no, I got work. Da, da, da. I'm like, I'm going to watch it then. I'm sorry. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to watch it. He's like, all right. And I watched 4 episodes that were available because the 6th episode came the following week. And that's when I finished it. And I literally watched all of it again from episode 2 to 6 the next day. It was, I loved that show, and it's binge worthy. For sure, especially if you're someone that doesn't know anything about Moon Knight, even if it's not comic book worthy, it is out there. The people now know. The universe knows of Moon Knight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like before, it's just whoever is in your comic book circle may or may not know Moon Knight. Now they do. There's a freaking series of it.
Yeah.
Only thing that I don't like about it, or the only thing I had an issue about it, is that Nope, I can't tell you. You didn't see it, did you?
I haven't finished it. No. Because my wife said, I'm like, fine, I'll just watch it by myself. But I literally have not had time to go home and watch something by myself.
I see.
Like every time I get home, my wife is also getting home. So it's like we watch things together.
Oh, I see.
So the only time I watch anything without her is when she's not at home. So I'm like, it just hasn't happened. So hopefully today, after this recording, I'll go home and finish. I think I only have the last 2 episodes.
Oh, cool. Well, I can't say this because this is something that would be a pretty heavy spoiler. So yeah, I'm not going to say it. But it is good. It is a great show, and I loved binging it. But that, as far as TV shows and anime and K-dramas, those are the ones I have just finished. And there's one more thing I wanted to mention that I'm binging. It's a manga called Starting Today, I'm the City Lord.
Interesting.
It is a manhua, spelt Manhua, which is the Romanized way of saying manga from China or Taiwan, one of the two. I'm not sure if it could even come out from Hong Kong, but any of them that come out of that area is manhua. And if for Korean, it's manhwa, which is spelled Manwha. That's the romanization or romanized version. And then, of course, you have the Japanese manga. But this is a manhwa that I'm binging right now. There's 410 chapters. I'm all caught up, of course.
Wow. Are you a super fast reader? Do you just continuously scroll through the manga, or do you actually sit there each page and kind of absorb the art, absorb the writing and stuff? Or because I have a friend, all he does, whenever he reads manga, he's scrolling. He doesn't even stop. He just scrolls through the whole thing and he's done. I'm like, bro, you didn't even appreciate
I do half and
the
half.
art.
It all depends. It all depends on what they're talking about. So if there's if there was a serious scene where, oh, this person betrayed us, we have to get back to them, there's going to be a solid 2 panels of just background and people in the alley or something like that. So I normally pass that. The fight scenes I watch, and then I just kind of imagine how it would look like, moving
in an anime.
like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, that'd be tight if they did this, And so I'm able to do that when reading manga. And this show is great. I'm going to spoil it for you. I know you don't read it or read manga or anything like that.
Right. Just
but
this I'm a lazy bum, but
this is a glorious show. So there's this genre called isekai. And isekai means world in Japanese. And this show is very similar to that. It's almost like a Sword Art Online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But instead, this kid is on the computer and he gets zapped by electricity and he gets sent to the world that he was just playing on. Since it was a fantasy world and he just started, he didn't know what was going on, right? However, this guy can go back home. So you can go from his world back to that world, back and forth as many times. Every time he goes back, he gets stronger. It's like his head or his mind becomes this percent.
Every time he goes back to the real world?
When he goes back to the real world or back to the fantasy world. So he has to make a full trip to get stronger.
Oh,
and so what he'll do is he'll go to the dollar store and grab a bunch of goods and take it to the fantasy world that it doesn't exist. Those things don't exist. And he sells them. Yeah. And so this baron was like, yeah, we're gonna sell off this land. And they saw a country bumpkin looking dude because he had clothes to match the setting. He didn't want to offset anything. And so he's like, all right, how much is it for this village? And he's like, oh, it's about 100 gold. And he's like, what? Nah, I'm good, And then he's like, how much gold do you have? He's like, I only have 30. He's like, I'll sell it to you for 30. He's like, all right. And so they sell it for 30. He finds a cat beast girl, of course, they gotta have that, in manga and manhwa or any kind of animation type thing. You gotta have the cat girls. And she was a warrior, helps her out. And then what he does is he starts to implement things from his world into the village. So what he did was all of the villagers hated the noblemen because they're all taking taxes. And they were, man. They would be building all this crops, but they could never eat because the taxes was they taking them away. It's there's 70% tax.
Jeez.
So I'm just so every production they made, they only get to keep 30%. No, that's whack. And there was a lot of people in the village. But anyway, he was just like, no, he's gonna reform, whatever. And remember, I told you every time he does the trip, so his mind gets smarter. So he's able to comprehend more and understand more. So he's learning how to run this city back home. And he comes to the fantasy and then he's learning how to, be a chief or a city lord of this village.
Yeah.
And so he starts implementing jobs, and then he realizes that there's thieves, so he implements the military. And the way he does that is that he helped a family a long time ago, and they were all knight, or they were a family from a knight because their dad was a knight. Dad lost his leg, but because all of the gold that he made in that fantasy world, he was able to buy a prosthetic leg and bring it back. And so he brought a prosthetic leg for the dad, and the dad was like, dude, what is this? And he's like, trust me, this is fine. This is what you need. And here's the ointment. He's like, what is that? Everything for your leg.
Yeah.
And because of that, he was able to run, and he was just like, the dad was just like, I am here to serve you forever. So the dad became the general of the army.
Yeah.
And so his boys were really tough because they're all hunters. But there was like four boys. He had 4 sons and 1 daughter. It was nuts. Okay, so anyway, they became like the army people. They controlled the army. And then more beast people came. There was a discrimination between beast people and human because half beast, half human versus human. So there was a big thing. He's like, nah, they're awesome because he had a kink.
Of course.
And yeah. And so they kept one-upping. And what was crazy is that later on they started to talk about hygiene and defecating in designated areas like bathrooms.
Yeah.
So he implemented bathrooms. And then all of a sudden, the first part I told you guys about was literally in the first 30 chapters. And the thing I'm talking about, the defecation and stuff like that, or pooping, or whatever, that's now in like 110. Okay, that's where that chapter is. So they're pooping in the middle. Like, so this nobleman comes out and he goes out around the building and he just starts to poop on the side. I guess that's what it was. And then a random commenter is like, yo, you can't do that. Look, there's a sign. And so, yeah, they go and use the bathroom, and then they come out and they're like, wow, this place is really clean. And then they're like, oh, there's food. Let's go get some food. And then they literally stood there and everybody backed up because they stunk. Because everybody in the city now takes showers regularly. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. And so all of a sudden, he knows, like, it's just so clean, and everybody's just like, after they get clean, they finally get food, and they realize that they have their own monetary system. It's a glorious show, y'all. I love isekai because of how when they implement our modern ways into their, medieval ways, it's such a good story because I just always like to see how people implement it, and he did it so well.
I hope they make an anime out of it.
Oh man,
so I can watch it.
It'd be so good, especially.
It reminds me of a different anime. What is it called? It's called something like how a realistic.
Oh, how realistic hero, or how realist builds a kingdom.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
That one reminds me of that one. That was a good show too. I liked it.
Really good. Actually, it does remind me a lot of that.
That was a good one.
I think the best part of that show was the food shortage. Remember they had a food shortage?
Yeah.
And he made the big guy, who apparently was a food critic,
like a master chef.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
know what I'm saying? And he was just like, yo, I'm gonna give
creator.
you the kingdom's griffin, and you're gonna go find some food for us, And literally, he made udon noodles with slime. I was just like, yes. This is what I mean. I'm just like, what else could you do? You know what I mean? There's another manga I'm reading, but I'm not binging because, I'm caught up, but there's only like 60 chapters. But this guy is a chef, or not a chef, excuse me. He knows how to cook, but he died and he ended up in this new world. And then he has a Fenrir, which is a huge wolf, and he has a dragon and he has a slime, and they're all his, or they're his familiars, and he gets protections from the goddesses. And the goddesses sees all these foods that he's making. So he's making like chicken katsu. He's making locomocos. He's making like, I don't know if you know what a locomoco is. It's just rice, hamburger patty or hamburger steak and a egg, and then with like gravy over it. And then
sounds good.
Yeah, and then a lot of Japanese cuisine because it's a Japanese manga, but they don't have chickens there. They have cockatrices though, which is apparently giant chickens. And he's making it, and he's making the food out of that. And then then he's making pork tonkatsu, and there isn't like regular pigs, but there is like evil boars that are like, as tall as buildings. And so he kills them, or he gets the Fenrir to do it because Fenrir is like a god apparently in that show. And, or he's like a divine beast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just kills it. And then the guy just makes all this tonkatsu. He makes all these things for him. He even made like pies and cakes, and then that's what got the goddesses like, yo, what's that? And then all the gods in heaven, they're just like, yo, who summoned him here? And so, that I did like seeing that when they use the fantasy world's resources with our knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm all like a cockatrice or a cockatrice. I think it was cockatrice. It's like it's like Big Bird, but a chicken. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Can you believe? I was like, I wonder how delicious the wings would be over there.
Because they're just ginormous.
Yeah. Just like, yeah. You know? I was just, oh, geez.
Can I get 2 wings, please?
Yeah. There's so many so many good stuff. But yeah, you like the how a realist builds a kingdom, right?
Yeah. So wait, but so that the chef one you just talked about, what's that one called?
I don't know. It's a long Japanese name.
Is it just a manga?
Yeah, it's just a manga.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah,
I really need to just read manga. Talking about mangas / animes, just because it popped in my head. Is there an anime that you've watched and also read the manga, and you were just absolutely disappointed with the anime? Because let me tell you, I've read. I recently, if we're talking about binging stuff, I read audio book version, not actually read because I'm a slow reader. Harry Potter.
Okay.
And I read Lord of the Rings.
Okay. And
let me tell you, Harry Potter, the book, is like on level 50,000, while the movie is just level 50.
Dang.
Because I literally, what I did was, once I read book 1, I went and watched the first movie like right after it to like compare, and I was like, dang, there is. And people say it all the time, right? The book is better, right? Oh, the movie was blah. So I wonder, like, when it comes to like animes, because I know some people do say this, like, oh, the anime is missing this, or it wasn't as great as the manga. Is there an anime that you've watched and you've read the manga to, and you're just like, wow, that was just
absolutely
total garbage in comparison?
Absolutely.
What anime would that be?
There's a few, but I'll tell you the one that broke my heart a little bit. There's a show is on Hulu. By the Grace of Gods, okay?
Okay.
It's about this man who's like, I think he's like in his mid-40s, and he passes away. And his whole life on Earth was he had a abusive father, but it wasn't all because he was abusive. Like he was very strict with him, right? He was so strict with his son or with the main guy, and he taught him how to defend himself, and then when he defended himself against bullies, the dad couldn't do anything about it. But the dad knew that his son was dangerous because he's strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the son wanted his dad to get his back, and didn't get it. Then his dad passes away, and he thought that his dad didn't love him. And then him and his mom, they were together, like living that single mom and son life, and one day he gets hired by a job, and apparently the job just kind of uses him, just like, they treated him terribly.
Right.
And then he dies from overwork. But before that, he was in depression because his mom passed away when he started his new job.
Oh.
That he got for her because she was starting to get sick.
Yeah.
And he got that new job, and that new job tended, push him around.
And the job then killed him.
And the job killed him. But that was after the fact that his mom had already passed away.
Right.
And so, when he passed away, he saw these 3 gods, and they're like, hey, what do you want to do? He's like, it's fine. He was just all like super humble. Anyway, he gets reincarnated into like this 6-year-old kid with a book that learns how to tame. And the first thing he tames was a slime. And so he tames a slime, and he starts to learn what slimes can do. This book is a divine book.
I think I know. Does he contain like a bunch of different types of slimes?
Yeah.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, he builds a house. He hunts. He gets stronger just because obviously his memories from his previous world shows up in his world, or goes with him, and so he's very strong already. But he's in a kid's body. But his know-how of things and how things should work is actually very high. And he is very diligent in his duties, and he lives the way that the gods want humans to live. He gets up he gets up early, and he goes to bed late or at night. He eats in moderation. He doesn't eat too much. He cleans, and like there's like this whole like list of things that the gods expect people to do, and he does it. He did it routinely because that's what he did before.
Right.
And because of that, they gave him a lot of blessings. Later on, you see him become an adventurer and ultimately meeting up with the royal family of that village that was nearby his house. And they became really tight and whatnot. But there was a specific scene where he actually gets people to help him fight goblins. There's like tons of goblins. There's a huge goblin army. And he literally had them all set up a certain way. Excuse me. And they didn't do that in the anime. Literally, I was so mad. Didn't make any sense. I was like, that was probably the most intense part for him because he had to not only fight off the goblins, but watch these younger kids who were trying to be adventurers and trying to make a buck because they were broke.
Right.
So he made weapons for everybody. He did all these things with the slimes. Like there was just so much going on. I was like, yo, this is so sick.
In the
manga, yeah. They didn't do that at all. Rather, he did a lot of it and then just cleaned up afterwards. There was none of the. He made like tons of staffs of spears. Excuse me. He made tons of them because he would just get like a big log and the slimes would just chop it up and then make it into spears and then give it to everybody. And also in the anime they did make it that the slimes could fight, but the slimes couldn't fight until later on or after that arc.
Yeah.
But the slimes could fight during that arc.
Yeah.
There was literally like on the sides with the sticks. They're like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, this is important because it's cool. It shows off his powers. What is going on here?
Yeah.
And there was other things that I didn't make any sense because it wasn't in the manga either. There was like this part where there was like a singing bird. I was just like, this wasn't in the manga. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, no, I was just like, okay. I was very disappointed because there was like 23 chapters at the time when I found it. Then a year later, the anime came out because my brother was like, hey, there's a new isekai out and it's about this guy that tames slimes. And I was like, what's it called? Like, great, by the grace of gods. And I'm like, okay. Looked it up. I was like, oh, dude, I read this. Oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. My brother did like it, but I think at the time he watched it was like up to episode 4, and I said, dude, yeah, no, the manga is better. He read the manga, he finished it because it was only short. It was short, and he's like, yo, that's awesome. So we both watched the rest of the anime. He's like, oh, they missed out so many parts. I'll just say, yeah, some of them are pretty important, especially for his character as an adventurer.
Right. You know, it's funny because like you think of live action ones. Like Harry Potter, for example, I can understand you not putting certain things in, even though I disagree with it. But hey, whatever. But the literal only difference between a manga and an anime is the animation part. It is moving. Literally, just grab the manga and just make it move.
Exactly.
Don't change nothing.
Back to back.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like I'm one of those people who. I feel like you should definitely try to be as close to what is written as possible, right? It's like we're not, especially if you're a fan of a certain manga or a certain book. It's like I'm not watching a movie because I want you to change the storyline or I want you to change something on. I'm watching the movie because I want what I imagined in my mind when I was reading the book to come out in real life now.
Right.
That's why we watch a movie or a show. Right, we want that realistic. Like we want to see our fantasy of it, our imagination of it to come to life now. Right, and being that it was written in a book, and in a lot of cases very well detailed, for you not to do it that way, you're just kind of like, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I do like that people saw what they did in the show, or as far as Harry Potter goes. So here's the thing about Harry Potter. So I read the first book like 3 times.
Yeah.
Once was I didn't finish it. Second was because of my school. We listened to an audiobook every day.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I read it for myself.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie, and I realized that they weren't ever going to bring the cat, something Peeves.
Oh, Peeves was the ghost.
The cat of the guy that has a weird eye.
Yeah.
They never brought him in, and they didn't bring Peeves either. The ghost. He wasn't.
Peeves was never in it. Nope. And he's
the cat was there.
The cat was
ghost
there.
The ghost wasn't there.
Yeah.
I thought he was a cat. My bad.
No, he's a mischievous ghost. But I enjoy the movies, but when you like compared to the books,
yeah, it's a
you
different.
just kind of like wow. I will say though, because I also listened to Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. The first book was rough to get through.
Oh yeah.
It was more of a musical than anything else. There was like, I swear, every chapter there was like someone singing.
Really?
Was
it text or no? Because you're listening to the audio, right?
Yeah. So the guy was like, because it's the text is also like music. So somebody's singing a folk song.
It's
or something.
italicized and stuff.
I'm
like
imagining
to the left?
probably, but yeah, it was rough because they're all they're traveling, and when you're traveling, you just start singing folk songs to yourselves or whatever. So that's what they were imitating in the book. But I was like, dang, bro, I don't care about this song. Let's just get to the nitty gritty.
Right.
But the second and third book were way better. But it was like the first one. I was like, oh, this is rough. I don't know if I'll be able to read or listen to the other two. I need to correct myself because I didn't read it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lie to the people out there. But I did listen to those two sets of books. The next one I'm going to binge listen to is Chronicles of Narnia. Okay. I'm going through all of the movies that I've watched and I really loved, right, as when I was younger, and I'm just gonna listen to them.
You gonna listen to them? Yeah.
So Chronicles of Narnia is the next one on my list. And there are a bunch of Chronicles of Narnia books.
Oh, yeah, there's tons. Yeah.
There's like 7 or 8 of them.
I thought there were 9, but yeah.
I was off by 1.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be hopefully pretty dope. And then I'll watch the first, what is it, 3 movies? They only came out with 3 movies, right? I
believe so. Or it could be 2. I'm not sure. Because there's one where they went there and they got old, and then they went back into the wardrobe and came out at the regular age.
Yeah.
And the second one
was when
was
man
was
there.
the prince, or
Caspian
prince.
And then the last one was the boat one where they were on a ship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where Atlas or Atlan, what was his name? The lion.
I don't remember.
The lion was at the beach. And then all of a sudden
exactly.
there's like a
when
huge
he
tidal
leaves.
wave. Yeah. I was just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the Caspian Prince one. Okay.
No.
But yeah, so there's that.
Brain fart.
Yeah, huge. But the Chronicles of Narnia, yeah, I love that show too.
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember if I watched Harry Potter 6. I don't remember, but I do remember at the same time. It's weird. Like, it was funny too, because like the girl who played Hermione, right? I didn't think of her as, or the girl that plays her, Emma Watson.
Uh-huh.
I didn't see her face in it. The face I saw was the girl from Full House. Did you ever watch that show, Full House?
Of course.
Okay, so there was the oldest daughter, and her best friend.
Yeah.
That's who I saw
really?
As Hermione. Yeah, when I was reading it, I was just like, oh, she would play this,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I thought the guy who played John Goodman, I thought he'd be a good Hagrid. Like a lot of the people that I casted in my head were American.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that this is from the UK.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, who are these people?
Right.
I think I only recognize Professor McGonagall.
Okay.
Because she was in Sister Act 2. Yeah, and Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and other films too. But she was the most famous of the group. Oh yeah, and then also Alan Rickman, Snape.
Yeah.
Because I watched him in Robin Hood with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that he is the villain in the show, but he is hilarious. He does a lot of the duh moment, But yeah, so the Harry Potter, another brain fart. The Harry Potter,
book?
Cast in my head
Oh.
Was all American.
All-American, for sure.
And then I saw Alan Rickman. I was like, okay, I know that guy. And I saw McGonagall. I was like, oh, I know that woman.
When I was listening to the books, I was like, bro, why is everything like so old? It didn't dawn on me until like book 3. That's like, oh wait, these books were written in like 1990 something, like 1996 or 97. It's like, and it's based in that time period. I was like, how did I not connect the two together? I was like, I kept thinking it was like modern times. Like, where's your cell phone at, bro? Yeah.
Nobody took a picture of it. Got a
like,
video.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
come on, bro. It's
not even there yet.
It's what year is this? 2022.
But yeah, that's something I've been binge reading, and I've been binge reading a lot of like finance books as well.
I have been binge reading, or actually binge listening audiobook.
Sorry, that's also what I've been
for
doing.
the Mortal Bones. Mortal Bones.
City of Bones.
City of Bones.
Mortal Instruments.
Yeah, there you go. Mortal
so
Instruments.
Good. That series I did read. Yeah. I actually physically read those books.
Oh wow.
Do
I have to do it now?
Which is something to be said, because I don't really read books, but that was the first series. I want to let you know, I had an ex-girlfriend who was way into that, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to read these.
Okay.
And then I just like, you know what, these are actually really good. I'm all for Team Simon though. Screw Alex.
Okay. Well, because so like this actually goes back to when I started talking about I was pursuing acting, right? Before when I was doing that, I had it was a competition that I was a part of, and one of the contestants and I got to hang out in between, our auditions and whatnot.
You were talking to the enemy, bro?
I was
messed up.
I was, but she was also doing other things too, other than acting. I believe she's doing modeling too, but she was short. So it's like this young 20-year-old girl, and me, I'm in my 30s, right? And I'm just like, at first, no, she wasn't 20. She was 18. She was young. Yeah. And she asked me if I wanted to hang out, and I'm like, looking around, I'm like, you look young. You know what I mean? I was just like, I was like, I'm fine with that, but let's go hang out where there's people. You know,
I am not interested in no jailbirds.
Yeah, I was like, let's go hang out with some people. All right, I'm colored. And so anyway, we go to this food spot, and then she's telling, we meet up, we're talking or whatever, talking about what I like. I was like, oh, I love anime. She's like, oh, I love to do role play, like D&D type stuff, but actual role playing, and they come up with scenarios in their heads.
LARPing.
Similar to that, yeah. Is that what that is?
LARPing when you dress up in real life.
Oh no, they do it online.
Oh, okay.
And so they just kind of type it in. So I joined it once, and it was very confusing. But these young people were about like the same age, so I couldn't really dive in. But they're like, she's like, yeah. So we do Mortal Instruments. Are you a fan of that? I seen the first movie.
The movies are trash.
I liked it only because I had no idea what it was about.
True. I understand that. Like, people, once again, this is a moment of those like book is better than the movie.
Right.
And the show was even. I was just upset
that
in
bad,
general,
huh?
bro.
Ooh.
I was upset. First of all, I'm like, at least for the movie, I'm like, one thing that bothered me, which is kind of silly, is like, why is Valentine bald? He's supposed to have long blonde hair, people. What was hard about this casting of guy with long...
Or giving him a wig.
Or giving him a wig.
You know what I'm saying?
That was upsetting to me. And it was something so simple. It was something that it really shouldn't bother you, but you're kind of like, this is who Valentine is, and you're not giving us Valentine. You're giving us
Lex Luthor.
Some...
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, exactly. I was upset. Like, it would be like giving Lex Luthor hair. It's like, no, man, he's bald. Let's be honest.
Come on, he's bald. All right.
Love who you are.
Don't be giving us those, unrealistic standards.
Yeah, right.
That's hilarious. So the funniest thing about the whole Mortal Instruments, the reason why I was interested in it, aside from the trailer, was because of Ariana Grande's song with Nathan Sykes or Skies, Almost Is Never Enough. And it was on YouTube, and it was literally just those people that make they just grab a song that would match a movie or whatever, and they just snapped it together, and then that was a song. And I was just like, yo, there's fighting in here, and there's like magic and stuff,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And it's called what? Mortal Instruments, City of Bones? I'm like, and then so I would every time I was watching whenever I watched the film, I heard the song. So I'm just like, oh, dude, so the song made me listen to it. And that's what I told the girl at the acting audition. And she was like, Oh yeah. No, I saw that. I was like, that's crazy because I don't think it's on that actual album, is it? She's like, I'm not sure, but she was doing a role playing thing and she wanted to invite me and I was just like, yes, please. I want to do D&D, but you're obviously not doing D&D. But let's go through this. And she was just giving me the rundown of it. She's like, you're familiar with the Mortal Instruments, and I'm like, yeah, movie 1, And she was just like, okay. So she was very patient with me. But then she's like, I would get kind of caught up. Like, here's a link, and she gave me a link with like tons of audio, and I'm just like, whoa. And so I read a lot or listened to it a lot, but by the time I kind of just stopped because I started gigging more.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm probably not gonna read it all. And by that time, she's like, oh yeah, we're already done with that story. I was just like, you could have told me.
The books are really good though.
Yeah,
the books are really, and I'm definitely, just so for all my Mortal Instrument fans out there, hey, I'm definitely Team Simon, Team Magnus Bane. Okay, those are my two.
You heard
my
it
boys
here.
Right there.
You heard it here. Not no bald Valentine.
No bald Valentine. No freaking
my
Alex.
Valentine got
Alex.
locks, golden locks. You know, wait, what color was his hair?
Who, Alec?
No, Valentine.
Blonde.
Blonde, yeah,
or
gold.
white or platinum. It was like a blonde platinum color.
Snap.
Yeah, he was like super light hair.
What's his name? The one from Final Fantasy? Saran? No. You know who I mean, right? You don't play Final Fantasy?
I literally played the one that came out on all consoles, which was like 12. Is that 12?
Yeah, well, yeah, I believe he's in most of them because he's one of the clones. But yeah, no, he literally has like this super long black coat, and anyway, he's
kind of like that. Think of that guy.
Okay, that's Valentine.
It sounds like that to me.
But instead, you got Lex Luthor. All right,
yeah, you get Lex Luthor,
and not Billy Zane's Lex Luthor. Billy Zane's Lex Luthor was cool, and it was funny too because a lot of people was like, was the Billy Zane Lex Luthor, was he black? I was like, he could be. I mean, I want to put like, I was like, this dude was like easily, he looked like 6'4". You know what I mean? He got big lips. He had a dark shade to his skin, and then you had like Clark or Superman next to him, and he was like more of a peach. You know, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's pretty ethnic, so to speak. But yeah, the Billy Zane Lex Luthor was a cool Lex Luthor. That was one of my favorites. It was really surprising that what's the kid's name? The one that does it. He's the most recent Lex Luthor.
Oh,
Eisenhower? No. He was in the
Facebook thingy.
He was in the social media
social media.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Social network. That's what it's called. Yeah.
I can't remember his name though, but
yeah, he's an all right Lex Luthor for the times. I think because he can play a very sinister type of person, but watching Lex Luthor in different aspects of it. There's a Lex Luthor from Adventures of Superman, Superman and Lois. Is that what it is? Back in TNT, and that Lex
Jesse
Luthor, Eisenberg, yeah, Jesse, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like his Lex Luthor, but I'm not a fan of it. Not when you have Justice League Unlimited's Billy Zane. Lex Luthor, that just amazing. That guy, he was awesome, especially when he took over the Flash's body, and he's like, "Oh, I get to see who this is." Takes off the mask. He's like, "I have no idea who this is."
You grabbed the wrong person.
I'm like, well, of course you don't know him. He's from Central City, sir. You're in Metropolis, dog.
That's great.
Oh, one of the best one-liners. If you guys ever see it, you just type in YouTube Lex Luthor reveals the Flash, and then I have no idea who this is. Oh man, it was good. So I guess that's all that I'm binging right now. Is that
pretty much? Yeah, I mean, books are definitely, which is weird because I hated books growing up, but that's because I have dyslexia, and reading was just made me feel stupid.
I have dyslexia too.
So yeah. I didn't know any better when I was younger. But now, I didn't think books could make you cry. Like, I've never understood that. And then Harry Potter, I almost started bawling. Like
man.
when Dumbledore, like I knew Dumbledore was gonna die, but when he did, I was like, oh.
Didn't they recast Dumbledore, the first one, because he passed away?
Yes.
Dude, I was just like, wow. I mean, dang, that sucks. Like just thinking about it. I'm like, and the guy that they did have as Dumbledore played a really good one too. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. That's what my wife was saying the same thing. I preferred the first Dumbledore, and I didn't know they recasted him until like I knew they recasted him, but I couldn't tell the difference until I watched the movies again, like as I was reading the book.
So like, unfortunate. So unfortunate.
That is a different person.
Exactly. I was so sad though for the cast, because I mean, obviously they learned, or they became these characters together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And kudos to Daniel Radcliffe for doing such obscure roles afterwards, because he was going to be known as the boy who lived.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of the issue sometimes when you play a role for so many years and at such a young age, right? Like what's the guy's name who plays like Home Alone?
Oh, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, like I mean that's kind of what pops in your head. Even though he's been in other things, right?
That's very true. Yeah, no, like Amy Jo Johnson, she was the Pink Ranger, but I believe she was recently in SWAT. She was like a cop in SWAT, and I was like, yo, that is awesome. That's an awesome role. But she'll always be seen as the Pink Ranger, and if you're my age, she is literally the girl crush of most young boys of that period who are now like 30 years old. You know what I mean? And I watched some of her stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and I was like, man, she's just singing, And I was like, is she married? Is she married? Then you see like little kids walking. I was like, whether she's married or not, she has children. You know what I mean? I was just like, she could have a baby daddy or whatever. But anyway, yeah. There's a lot of things with binge watching, and obviously you can tell from both me and Leo that we have our gripes and our loves within it.
Yes, for sure. And if there are any like shows / books that you guys, or movies that you guys are binge watching and we didn't mention it, and you're like, oh man, I think these guys would love so and so, let us know.
Yes, please.
Let us know. We're always looking for new things to watch, new things to listen to, new things to read, more listen to or
I should read though, for sure.
I know.
My dyslexia, when I read, I start to think of other things, but it would entail of whatever I'm reading. So if I'm reading like, oh yeah, this kid is about to get into a fight, I imagine the fight happening, although the book had ended the fight before someone came in. So yeah, but that's just me. But yeah, so yeah, if there's anything else that you guys want us to see, watch, or read, or listen to, please be listened to. Please, let us know in the comments.
For sure.
And yeah, so I guess that'll wrap us up for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Want to let you guys know to also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Nerdy Volume Podcast. If you guys can't find Nerdy Volume Podcast, it'll also be under Nerdy Volume, I believe, on Twitter. But just put out the whole word Nerdy Volume Podcast, and you'll be able to find us and get up to date on our episodes coming up and all that good stuff. Right now, we are still in the rebuilding phase, and we don't have Ranuma here, but we will have him soon, probably in June.
Yeah, you just told us some good news, though.
Yep, and it's gonna be exciting, and we might be getting a studio. Hopefully, I'm not entirely sure if we will, but I mean,
we're in the studio right now, of course.
Of course,
right.
Who
are we?
Yeah. But so yeah, just please keep a lookout and anywhere on social media, and we will see you next time. Once again, my name is Iz,
and just in case you all forgot, my name is Leo.
We'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.